Vice President, if he is there, he'll be ahead of PM.
Live visuals from Darbar Hall in Rastrapathi Bhavan. Prime Minister Modi there greeting President Donald Trump, which officially now can be called the banquet. It has started, accompanied by Vice President there. In fact, a while back, the national anthems of both nations were played out. Vishnu Prakash, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, can take us through the proceedings of the evening. What happens next?
Well, there is a bit of a change. I can see that. Earlier, the visiting dignitary, the head of state and our head of state and the spouses used to stand where they were standing, and there was a lineup on both sides in the order of seniority of the Indian side and the distinguished visitors side, and then they would one by one go across to the position where the two leaders were standing and shake hands.
You have Ram Vilas Paswan there, Rajnath Singh. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I think in the interest of time, they have changed it, because instead of they going there, now the heads of states come to the guest lineup, and that way it is faster, because otherwise names were called one after the other. And on the other side, you will find that there will be the American side. So after greeting the Indian side, then they'll go to the American side. And
yes, Union Minister Piyush Goyal, Foreign Affairs Minister there, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, Smriti Irani, Union Minister Smriti Irani, Union Minister Piyush Goyal there. Yes, Siddaramaiah.
Yeah. So and after this, there'll be our officials, and after the ministers, and
Chief Minister Yediyurappa, you meant.
Yes.
Yediyurappa is there.
Go ahead, sir, please.
So he will greet our chief of protocol is introducing the Indian dignitaries. So and when they go to the American side, I think that usually the head of state himself introduces the members of his delegation. So after this, they will go across and he will introduce members of his delegation to our president.
So chief ministers in the line of protocol are, they come along with the cabinet ministers, is that?
They do, but in their own state.
In their own state they are above.
They are, I think they are above, right?
In their own states they are above. But in the center they are.
I think cabinet ministers, even in their state, they have a...
There is something, I mean, I forget my protocol
because the
list
union
now.
takes precedence.
Okay.
So, yes. And usually the lineup is quite long. I remember one of the receptions that I went to on the Indian side, there were 136 people.
Okay.
So imagine 136 people's names were called and you walked up to the
it takes very long. It
took you so very long. Yeah.
But he has
so this is a smarter, I mean, it's a quicker way to do that.
Well, from Karnataka's Chief Minister Yediyurappa, there Manohar Lal Khattar, and then you have also some of the senior union ministers there. And one thing, did you notice, President Donald Trump is in no hurry right now. He's taking keen interest not only in Rastrapathi Bhavan's architectural grandeur, but soaking in every bit of this experience.
No, he is clearly at ease. And I must also say he is not a person who kind of normally takes too much of interest in things. He is taking a lot of interest.
It's a personal interest in
very relaxed.
Very relaxed. Otherwise, and also for that matter, Houston, at least I was surprised. I did not have inside knowledge about how long will he stay. He stayed for our Prime Minister's speech. So he was there for 2 hours. And here also he's taking a lot now with the Foreign Secretary. And by the way, our Foreign Secretary, when he was a minister, he was the ambassador in Washington, was one of the first ambassadors who was invited to the Oval Office to be said farewell. So he has a very nice picture with President Trump before he left for India to be the Foreign Secretary. And then our new ambassador, Taranjeet Singh Sandhu.
How important and how significant are these banquets in the entire gamut of diplomacy, and especially in this case, sir, if you would like to come in here, and also Ambassador Prakash, your thoughts on it. In this case, the maiden visit or the standalone visit of President Donald Trump?
Well, you know, the state visit means the visiting head of state is feted and he's introduced to all those people who matter. And so the VIPs and the whole gentry which are there in the capital. So it's actually
Wow.
And he's feted, he's introduced, and they come and greet him. So this is the kind of a
You see some business leaders also
Azim
there.
Premji there
Premji
also,
we could
yes,
see,
yes.
yes, and a line of business leaders. So there is a wide representation
I
at
have
the
From the
been
business
banquet.
banquets
community as
where
well.
even film stars were there.
Okay,
What do you
right.
make of this banquet, Ambassador?
You know, Darbar Hall is grand.
Okay.
So the very fact that you invite a visiting dignitary to the Rastrapathi Bhavan and then to the Darbar Hall, which has a history where the world's leaders, dignitaries have been there, I think it is a gesture of respect that you show towards your visiting dignitary. Also, the idea is that, after they have said hello to each other or greeted each other, they will be mingling freely for some time.
You have Vice President also exchanging pleasantries there. It seems to be a very free-flowing conversation amongst the cabinet and the senior union ministers amongst themselves.
Very much so.
As President Trump is now interacting with the captains of industry, there is a representation from the industry as well. Well, that also, in fact, adds
The
more
US president
impetus.
had already met them
to
earlier at the business dialogue.
Yes, and their presence there, would you say, Ambassador Prakash, adds more impetus to the business component of the overall outcome?
Very much so. Where would you get an opportunity of interacting freely, informally, with the world's most powerful man? And you can clearly see that the businessman in him has come to the fore, and
He's spending more time there.
he's talking to, and yes, because
Yes.
he knows many of the captains of trade and industry in India, and well, that is what he loves to do. So yes, it's a good, and that I think is Arun Puri, right?
That's right, yeah.
That's our
So, and I think there will be some film stars also, as my colleague has mentioned, and let's see how he reacts to, because he talks of Hollywood to Bollywood, and so
No, I don't see any this time, but
There'll be, I
it
think, the
shows
pecking
the
order, there'll be
changing times. We have the president, our president, who otherwise was very stately when we were in the government, but now he also moves around freely.
Okay.
Because I have attended previous banquets where the president sits at one place and we all go to meet him, but he doesn't move around.
So times
also,
have
would you
changed.
agree that it's a bit of a personality thing?
Absolutely.
Because
Mr.
this
Pranab Mukherjee also
president,
started
that way has made and successive presidents have made a conscious effort to not have that
To
those
unshackle that,
regal,
that stately
which
formality.
is in keeping with the times of the
Absolutely,
day.
yes.
So
Well, this also has been the overall import. You spoke about personalities. I think there you have in one frame President Ramnath Kovind, you have in one frame President Trump, then our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, then you also have First Lady. All of them,
Shobna Bharti,
yes,
I think.
exchanging pleasantries, and yes, then I think there is more of a business communication that's transpiring between President Trump and the
These
captains
are some
of
of the
industry.
media personalities
Yes.
as well.
Yes, yes.
And after this, they normally they are invited to have a juice or something, and they move from the pre-assigned positions and mingle. So because again, when they go inside to the dining table and dining room, it's a banquet room, that is. It's a long table where you can barely talk to each other because
That's right.
I think easily there'll be about 100 guests today. So the banquet table will have.
What's the capacity of the banquet table?
Well, they extend it.
They extend it.
They
okay.
extend it or shorten it, and recently they have extended the capacity. And imagine 100 people are sitting there at the banquet table. So this is the only time when the guests can mingle with each other, talk to each other, and I think it's a very good way to do that.
So, is there a pattern, a certain system to this entire situation that we are looking at? I mean, or
Yes, it's a drill.
Yes,
The
yes, there's a
drill
drill to it.
The drill is laid out very scrupulously.